And here we are after we got back to where we were staying and got cleaned up from the work, and some of the local kids would come by and we'd go out in the street and play soccer with them or whatever. There's a couple more pictures of us just talking to them or playing with them. It's hard to tell, I'm not sure. And I'm not sure if you can see it, but they don't know what basketball was. And so we found an old chair that wasn't comfortable to sit on. And we attached it up there on the rebar that they have to keep people out at night. They have everything barred up, and we attached it there. I'm not exactly sure how we did that. I'm not sure if we used zip ties or what. But we used then, because the back rest was missing, so we had the seat as the backboard, and then the other part was the hoop. And they enjoyed that.
Ingenuity.
And there's another, and then as a picture, inside more of what Mom's there helping one of the little girls that came by. And on the right, it was before we were getting ready to leave on the second day, I believe. That kid, they didn't know what sunglasses were, and they were extremely happy to just look at them. They were completely in awe of what they were, and it was funny. And you can see another mural in the background on the wall. And here I am with my group doing dishes that night. And the second day, we had to go up. This is on our way to the water project. That's how most of our group got there, on the back of the truck with all the supplies. And then we take the truck up as far as we could up the mountain, and then we had to carry it the rest of the way to the top. So it was fun. And you can see in the right picture how they're all packed in the truck and on the back. And yeah, it was just another way to get there. And this is up top, that cement, that was eventually going to be all cemented. And you can see the black containers there. They each hold 1,000 gallons of water. After we get that cemented, there will be 10 of them on that cement platform. So it'll hold 10,000 gallons of water there. And they're going to build a larger cistern up at the base of the spring to hold water, to help give water to the community around in the area. And on the left, we were carrying block. That was after we got most of the block moved. That block was probably stacked about 7 feet high. And we carried all of it up this hill. You can see on the right, there's a little bit of a path. You can kind of see what it's like. So we walked through the jungle, up the mountain, and it rained a little bit the night before, so the ground was really wet and muddy and slippy. And so you can kind of see how you can't see how it got steeper, but you can tell that we're keep going up. And it wasn't a nice clean path. There was tree roots all over and rocks, and it was wet and slippy. And we had to move the sand and rock on over so that we could mix the cement with it, mix the cement to get that cement poured on so they could put more of these tanks up. There is all the sand that we moved. I think it was 65 buckets or something like that. And then on the right, they're cutting the steel to help enforce the cement so that it doesn't give in and crack. And you can kind of see this is how they mix the cement. Can't exactly tell how, but I have there's a better picture later. They just, after we have the sand and that piled up, then they'd throw the cement bags on top, and then we'd add water and mix it on the ground with shovel until it got to what we wanted it, and then we'd put it in buckets and bucket over to where we were cementing and dump it in. And then on the way home, we'd walked home. And this is a shack. Well, it's a little convenience store, kind of.
I thought it was a toilet. I said, no, you actually go in there and buy things.
Yeah, it was a lot. The one guy actually bought like most of us drinks there the one day, so that was nice because it was the only thing that we had cold, but the water they gave us was warm. So it wasn't exactly what we're used to, but it worked. And you can see in this picture on the left, their houses are on the mountain, so they just they make their driveway up the side, and it's real close to the edge, because I think you should be able to see that. And then on the right, you can see how their roads are pretty much right up to the edge and then it just goes down because it's all mountain. So they just build onto the side whenever. And there's those are both pictures, I think at the same spot actually. Looking out across, and you can see the mountain in the background. It's just cool. On the left, you can see there's actually, that tree has flowers on it. They're nice red flowers. They're really cool to look at. And on the right, there's another picture of the mountains in the background, and it's cool. On the left, there's more pictures of what the terrain is, not the terrain, the forest is. That's pretty much how it is everywhere. And on the right, you can see this house is just built down over this bank. It's just down in. They just build wherever they can. And then here on the left, you can kind of see a little bit more how they drive right along the edge, because the road's right there, and then it just like drops off. And on the right, not a very good picture, but more of the scenery as we were driving around. Another picture of the scenery this is actually on our way to the school that we built at the beginning when we first started going. And on the right, I'm guessing it was a horse ranch. It wasn't a real big one, but that was about the only American animal that you saw, like somewhat like we were used to. And here we are, we're serving breakfast, or getting ready to. Every morning we had bananas, scrambled eggs, and usually like donut, they called them donuts, but they were just fried dough, like dumpling. And then we usually had pineapple and something else, but I don't remember everything, because it changed every now and then. And then we always had bread and jelly and stuff, which was really good because their bread is like it's different than ours. It's like really thick and soft, and it's so good. The only difference in the bananas, I thought, was that you could tell they were a little more tree ripened than what we get, but they were still good. I wouldn't say they were better, but they were still good. And there's a picture of Mom and I in the church, I believe. Where I'm standing is actually in front of the church itself. That's the front entrance. And on the right was one of our leaders with one of the girls that came early. And another picture of where the church and the cafeteria area that we had earlier. And on the right, we were up front, we were giving I think that was during little kids, like Sunday school. We were up there doing a little bit of a skit thing. And the pastor the main pastor that was there for the church, he couldn't make it that day. So we had Pastor Aaron go along with us, which was cool. So he had like 30 minutes before church started to get a lesson ready, and he filled in for the pastor. So, and this was there was usually like five singers up front to lead worship, and they worship a lot different than what we do. They're very loud, and it's like back and forth between congregation and the leaders. It was really awesome just to see how they praised God, and we all praise Him differently, but He's still the same God. And this was this was actually a richer house as we were heading toward the school that we started when we first started going. So you can see that's the name on the left is the name of the church of the school that we started, and on the right is the school itself. It looks like it's kind of run down, but it's not. That's just how it is. When they don't have the money, they'll keep building onto it, but until then, it's like it is.